Did you realize that the snacks you eat right before bed, or even in between meals, may be subtly impairing your physical capabilities? Particularly after retirement, many older persons sincerely try to eat healthily, limiting their intake of foods, staying away from sugar, and frequently swapping out chips and cookies for what they consider to be sensible snacks. Nuts. Furthermore, some nuts may be covertly speeding up muscle loss, a condition known as sarcopenia, one tiny time, while others genuinely promote memory, circulation, and muscle tone. Our bodies lose their capacity for forgiveness around the age of 60. To keep our muscles healthy and robust, we require protein, more sleep, and more specific nutrients. The majority of seniors are unaware of this though. We don't simply lose muscle as we get older. When we stop providing it with the means to remain, it vanishes. In this post, I want to tell you about 7 particular nuts that you should stay away from. Not because they're trendy to despise, but because they can interfere with your heart, strength, sleep, or medications. As a health educator, I write this because I have seen firsthand how many older folks, just like you, desire to feel stable, invigorated, and secure in their own bodies. Let's go one by one. Additionally, keep in mind that each of these includes a tale, a lesson, and a gentle assist you in regaining your health. Beginning right now, in order to ensure that you never miss another personalized health tip, I advise you to ring the bell and subscribe. Having already, type 1 in the comments if you like this video. If not, input 0 to tell me how I can improve your material. 1. Cashews, the creamy culprit responsible for weak legs and brittle bones. Cashews frequently enter our homes under the appearance of innocuous comfort, often appearing in senior, to their heart healthy reputation, delicate sweetness, and creamy texture. Beneath their attractive exterior, however, is a subtle saboteur that silently destroys the bones that clay doesn't create any noise or discomfort immediately away. The balance of bone renewal changes for persons over 60. We no longer lose as quickly as we build further. Worse, by including foods high in oxalates, such as cashews, in our diet. In the digestive system, oxalates bind to calcium and block its absorption into the blood, which may eventuate to weaker bones, a higher chance of fractures, and a slower rate of recuperation following falls. I remember working with a sweet woman named Evelyn, 73, who was experiencing overall instability and foot discomfort. Cashews, she had always thought, were a better option than cookies, although she had made that exchange with the best of intentions. She was unaware that the cashews she ate every night were preventing her body from maintaining the same quality she attempting to safeguard. Her mornings were more consistent when she stopped eating cashews and switched to more calcium-friendly eyes. I remembered what she said. I believed I was acting appropriately. I had no idea that food could be so subdued and potent. Additionally, compared to other nuts, cashews have a carvely high carbohydrate content. Seniors who are regulating their blood sugar may experience glucose surges, particularly at night, which can exacerbate inflammation and hasten the breakdown of muscles. Additionally, the density of cashews can make them difficult, if not deadly, to eat for people who have dry dentures or swallowing issues. Even while cashews seem like an innocent delicacy, they may be subtly weakening your body as you age, one mouthful at a time. However, cashews are not the only fruit that can be deceiving. A far more well-known nut that is frequently lauded in toast, spreads, and trail mix may be much worse for your joints and liver. Please let me know in the first remark below if you're still watching and finding these insights useful. Let's discuss point number 2. 2. Peanuts. Cheap to purchase yet expensive for your joints and liver. There are peanuts everywhere, yes, hidden in protein bars, and smuggled into trail mixed. They are simple to access, fulfilling, and reasonably priced, making them feel like a familiar companion to many seniors. However, familiar things are not always safe, particularly for a body that is aging, changing, and growing more sensitive over time. In actuality, there are hazards associated with peanuts that are sometimes overlooked until it is too late. Peanuts are essentially legumes, which means they grow underground, and are therefore quite vulnerable to mold, despite their nut-like name. Aflatoxin, a poisonous substance associated to liver damage, compromised immunological function, is produced by this mold. The liver has a hard time removing these toxins from younger bodies. However, this concealed threat becomes more significant for older folks, particularly those who are already dealing with liver strain or taking many drugs. Marvin, a 76-year-old guy I knew, took pride in his peanut habit. He said, "It's my protein, it's inexpensive, feel full." However, he also reported persistent exhaustion, painful joints, and bloating that no physician could fully diagnose. At first, the effects were minor: lighter mornings, improved digestion when he stopped eating peanuts. However, his joint pain began to subside after a few months. More medication isn't always the solution, there is less covered harm. Additionally, peanuts throw off the DASO, omega-3 to omega-6 fatty acids. Although omega-6 fatty acids are not intrinsically harmful, too much of them can exacerbate chronic inflammation, which is a primary cause of joint discomfort, muscle deterioration, and even memory loss. Peanuts are a far riskier food than they seem when you combine that with the fact that they contain vitamin K, which can adversely conflict with blood thinners. What about peanut butter for seniors attempting to stay strong? The majority of brands are a slow-acting taste. They are high in sugar, salt, and hydrogenated oils. But wait till you learn about the next nut. One that's creamy, decadent, and slowly wasting away your mustache after night. If peanuts can damage your joints and liver so subtly. 3. Rich in taste, poor in muscle support. Macadamia nuts are typically thought of as a luxury because creamy and decadent. Gourmet recipes, health snackazels, and sophisticated dessert tables all feature them. They are a delight to the taste and the eye. However, they might be one of the most misleading snacks for an aging body, particularly one that is telling its power. Macadamias don't appear to be hazardous at first. I take it that they are rich in good fats. But if you look more closely, you'll find a troubling reality. They don't do much for your muscles. They are particularly deficient in fiber and protein, two elements your body needs to create and repair TC, particularly when you sleep. Without those building components, the body might retreat inward and use its current muscle to power essential night processes. Many elders feel weaker, less stable, or more prone to tiredness in the morning because of this gradual erosion. The calorie density comes next. One of the nuts with the highest calorie content is macadamia nuts. It's simple for older folks who are less active, or who are trying to control their weight, to eat too much of them. A tiny handful can supply more than 200 calories with no nutritional value. The outcome: unintended ways that puts more strain on joints, particularly the lower back, hips, and knee. Even worse, the majority of macadamia nuts that are sold commercially are roasted in processed oils and salt, which exacerbates heart diseases, increases blood pressure, and encourages inflammation, especially in older adults with circulatory issues. A sweet woman named Carol, who was 69 years old, had a little container of macadamia next to her reading chair. She told me that it was my prize, but as time went on, she became aware of a heaviness that didn't entirely make sense, and her legs becoming tired more quickly. Her mornings started to feel lighter and her steps more confident when she replaced them with a high-protein nightly snack. Therefore, even though macadamia nuts could seem like a mild treat, they're actually a pricey compromise for senior citizens who want to maintain their strength and stability. However, if macadamia subtly weaken you, the following nut poses a new risk, one that is connected to both your capacity to metabolize your drugs and muscle. 4. Pine nuts, tiny, silky, and beautiful. Pine nuts appear innocuous, yet they can interfere with your medications. They don't appear like a hazard and are frequently added to salads, mixed into pesto, or served in fancy dish dough. However, these harmless seeds can subtly disrupt some of the most sensitive bodily processes for elderly people, particularly those who are taking several drugs. Many individuals are unaware that pinolinic acid, a substance found in pine nuts, has been demonstrated to change how the liver metabolizes drugs. Seniors on cardiac rhythm medications, cholesterol-lowering statins, or blood pressure medications may find this particularly concerning. Serious adverse effects such as abrupt increases in blood pressure, irregular heartbeats, or clotting problems can result from even little changes in how your liver metabolizes these medications. Furthermore, these changes frequently go undetected until actual harm has started, in contrast to evident allergic reactions. In addition to pharmacological interactions, pine nuts have been connected to pine mouth, an odd and extremely annoying ailment. Although it isn't harmful, it is unsettling since it leaves you with a metallic, bitter aftertaste that lingers for even weeks. This can lead to undereating and inadvertent weight loss in seniors who are already struggling with decreased appetite, which makes maintaining muscle even more difficult. And then there's the fat problem. Pine nuts are high in polyunsaturated fats, which oxidize rapidly, even though also contain beneficial lipids. These fats can create chemicals that age brain cells, aggravate joints, and harm arteries if they are even slightly stale or incorrectly kept. A risky combination for everyone, but particularly for elderly people, not to mention the obvious fact that pine nuts, due to their small size and smooth shape, might choke in with dental problems, dry mouth, or diminished swallowing reflexes. A prevalent but frequently acknowledged problem as we age. Although they are small, the dangers are not. Pine nuts can upset equilibrium in ways that few anticipate for prediabetes that depend on consistent habits and reliable medications. If pine nuts can subtly agitate your senses and prescriptions, the next nut conceals a far more obvious threat. Toxin that can cause you to gasp even at low concentrations. 5. Apricot kernels and bitter almonds, toxic in small doses. Bitter almonds aren't found in every cupboard, but they frequently appear under false labels, raw almonds, apricot kernels, or natural detox nuts that are offered for sale online or in health food stores with audacious claims. However, beneath those harmless labels is a substance called amygdalin, which when digested turns into severe hazard, particularly for elderly persons. Cyanide, the term barely seems appropriate for a discussion about food, much less one that is tagged as natural. However, that's the truth about bitter almonds. Dizziness, nausea, confusion, and worse can be brought on by eating as little as 4 or 5 raw bitter almonds. Consuming more than 10 could result in severe poisoning that needs immediate medical attention. Furthermore, our body's ability to handle poisons like these decreases with age, making even tiny dosages more harmful. I recall a couple in their 70s, Roy and Marianne, who began including apricot kernels into their diet after purported anti-cancer properties online. Before long, Marianne started having migraines, stomach aches, and an odd feeling of being out of breath. They believed it to be the flu or possibly a side effect of a drug. No, it wasn't. Later, her blood testing showed minor cyanide toxicity. Within days, a single adjustment, removing the kernels, brought relief. Bitter almonds and their imitations are problematic because they pose as beneficial. They appeal or kneel to our need protect, to age gracefully, and to avoid harsh drugs. However, true health does not come from concealed toxins masquerading as wellness jargon, particularly your body's already gracefully aging. Unlike other nuts, these can hurt you right away rather than gradually eroding your power. There was opposed to a system that was already becoming more susceptible with age. No gradual deterioration or creeping exhaustion. Bitter almonds are harmful, but they're not the most pernicious. Another nut that doesn't simply mess with nutrition is smooth and creamy, and is frequently found in snack mixes that subtly erode the bones that support your body. 6. A hidden enemy in every pantry. Salted mixed nuts. A can of mixed nuts has a reassuring quality. It is shared with friends, family, or when watching an old movie on a calm evening. It is ready to serve as a quick snack in between meals, and is kept on the kitchen counter. It seems like a sensible, even healthful decision to many seniors. Nuts are superior to chips after all. However, upon closer inspection, particularly of salted mixed nuts, you may discover that something's here, actually quietly depleting your energy. More sodium is added to these blends than most people know, and they are frequently extensively processed in subpar oils. The repercussions are minor, but significant for senior citizens. Consuming too much salt causes circulation problems, high blood pressure, and fluid retention, all of which are inevitable as people age. Is your mind hazy in the morning, your ankles swelled, or your sleep disturbed? It's not always age that's snack salt content. The fact that cashews and peanuts, which we have already addressed, provide little support for muscular health, and may even hasten bone loss and inflammation. Predominate in many mixed nut mixes, is even more troubling. Seldom do these mixtures contain the healthier nuts, such as pistachios, walnuts, or skin on almonds. The nutrients your aging body actually needs to repair and remain strong are absent, leaving you with a caution calories, salt, and inflammatory fats. I once met 81-year-old Howard, who proudly told me that years ago he traded cookies for nuts. When I asked what kind, he was taken aback. He grinned, "Just the classic mix." However, his expression altered when we read the label together and saw that hydrogenated oils included μ of sodium per serving. He responded softly, "I thought I was doing better." The good news he was, since not all nuts are made equal. And occasionally the combination can deceive us. He simply needed to take it a step further and select more intelligent sources of nourishment. But wait till you discover a nut that is hailed for its nutrition, but is also dangerously simple to overeat, capable of shifting your body's balance with just a few too many nibbles. 7. Brazil nuts, a surprising source of selenium that may backfire. At first look, Brazil nuts appear to be a nutritious gem, huge, robust, and loaded with selenium, a mineral necessary for immunity, thyroid function, and even muscle upkeep. That seems like a gain for seniors who want to save their energy and remain intelligent. However, in reality, there is a thin line separating beneficial and detrimental effects of Brazil nuts, particularly for elderly individuals whose systems are more susceptible to overconsumption. One of the trace minerals is selenium, trace indicating that the body requires very small amounts of it. Your whole daily requirement, and frequently more, can be found in just one Brazil nut. Therefore, you can be getting 5, 6, or even 10 times the safe limit when you consume a handful. As many without realizing it, the body may adapt at younger ages. However, selenium overload becomes a serious concern beyond age 60 when metabolism slows and organs, like the kidneys, handle nutrients less effectively. The consequences are concerning, albeit they aren't often noticeable right away: irritation, joint discomfort, thinning hair, stomach difficulties, and even nerve problems. I remember talking to John, a 75-year-old Vietnam veteran who read about the health benefits of Brazil nuts and began including them in his diet. He felt exhausted and achy within weeks, but he was unable to determine why. Selenium levels in blood tests were much higher than normal. The symptoms subsided when he reduced his eating days, one every few days. He informed me, "I never thought too much of a good thing could do that." Brazil nuts are rich in saturated fat in addition to selenium. Even if it's natural, it still adds up, particularly if you're taking care of heart or cholesterol issues. The risk is increased by their density, ease of overconsumption, and frequent unthinking consumption. The harsh reality that the poison is the dose. Additionally, if the balance is off, even foods that seem healthful can backfire. Therefore, even though Brazil nuts can contribute to wellness, they should be respected and used sparingly. Something that isn't frequently stated on glitzy health blogs or on labels from supermarkets. Now that you know which 7 nuts I absolutely shun, here's what I consume daily to help maintain a strong morning, protect my muscles, and improve my memory. 8. I eat these foods every day to maintain my strength, mental clarity, and independence after I'm 60. Building strength as we age isn't about doing more. I've discovered through the years, it all comes down to continually doing the correct things. Expensive supplements, elaborate diets, and tiresome regimens are not necessary. All you have to do is provide your body with the kind of continuous, gentle sustenance it so desperately needs, particularly during the quiet hours when your brain and muscles are resting and rebuilding. Here is what I personally use every day to help keep my heart healthy, my muscles safe, and my mind and body balanced as I become older. 9. I consume a small bowl of low-fat cottage cheese every night around an hour before bed. It works, but it's neither current nor fascinating. A unique protein found in cottage cheese is called casein, which breaks down gradually and fuels your muscle night long, while you sleep. It acts as a gentle trickle of support. This stops your body from using muscle as fuel, which is a condition that many people have after the age. A teaspoon of pumpkins seeds is something else I add. Magnesium, which is abundant in them, promotes muscle relaxation and helps avoid those terrible leg cramps at night. Moreover, tryptophan, an amino acid found in pumpkin seeds, increases the body's natural synthesis of melatonin. More deeper, more restful sleep. Your body performs its most significant healing at that time. 11th. I'll peel and eat 2 ripe kiwis on some nights, especially when I'm feeling a little stiff or exhausted. They also naturally contain melatonin, and are high in antioxidants. They are, in my experience, a gentle breeze in joints and relax my thoughts before bed. Lastly, I like to have a couple walnuts with my breakfast every other morning. They contain ALA, a plant-based C, reduces inflammation and promotes brain function. Particularly on the days when I take longer walks or take care of my garden, they keep me flexible, grounded and focused. These foods aren't magical. These are straightforward, doable decisions that don't overwhelm me and meet me where I am at this stage of life, and I sense it when I'm reliable. Increased vitality, reduced pain, improved mental clarity, and improved hilarity. Start modest if you're over 60 and want to make a subtle but significant change in your health. If you'd like, I can walk you through creating your own basic sleep ritual for healing and strength. Starting the eat before bed. In conclusion, little decisions lead to better tomorrows. Fading is not synonymous with aging. It entails adjusting gradually, sensibly, and carefully your strength at the truth. The nuts that can gradually weaken your strength, and those that can strengthen it, have now been shown to you. You now know that even something as basic as a handful of pumpkin seeds or a tablespoon of cottage cheese can support your body's natural ability to heal, repair, and regenerate. It's not necessary to make all the changes at once. You don't require intricate food plans or flawless discipline. All you have to do is start with one deliberate choice at a time. What can I give my body tonight as I get ready for bed to help it wake up stronger tomorrow? While there's not for your life, your legs, or your memories. Additionally, keep in mind that the strongest foundations are created by the tiniest rituals carried out with care. The purpose of these lectures is to encourage you to live life to the fullest and most genuine. I would be delighted to hear from you now. Think for a moment, then share one item you've learned that you want to use in your own life. On this path, on accepting these realities, let's help one another. Please feel free to leave a comment. If you like this video, feel free to 0. Not your opinions are very important to us. For more videos like this one, remember to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. I appreciate you viewing, and I hope you enjoy living your life as you see fit.